blessings in Jesus' name we pray.
Please join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, can you give us a roll call, please?
Debbie Doe.
Here.
Sarah Anderson is absent. Andy Bishop. Here. Bo Cotton. Yeah. Ashley Ferguson. Mark McDermott. Here. Matthew Peters. Here. Josh Hill.
Present.
We have four.
Thank you. Has everybody had the opportunity to look over tonight's agenda?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Has everybody had the opportunity to approve the November 26th regular meeting minutes?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, old business. Discuss and make recommendations for the zoning ordinance revision concerning R1 minimum lot size. Mr. Gordon, would you like to speak on that? Thank you.
I believe I'm going to be up here, I guess, for the duration
Yes, sir.
of the meeting. Just hoping that we can talk and we can see if we're going in the right direction, or see if you guys want to go in any other directions that kind of got us here. But as far as the specific R1 minimum lot size, it's been the parish's desire, I think, to make the minimum lot size throughout the entire parish, not be sure about R1, a minimum of 2 acres, no matter the development, no matter the size of the neighborhood. The things that we've made changes to are the appendix A, your subdivision regulations. So as far as getting into the actual ordinances and rewriting the R1 portion of it, or the zoning ordinances, with my opinion, I think that we need to get the appendix fixed and make sure that we're all going in the right direction before we do that. I think those are going to be a couple small things to type up and fix. As we've gone through 5 subdivisions that you guys have had platted, plus the RV park and a few other things that we've changed. And we all we do a lot of work in those in the parish, a lot in Ascension Parish, and everyone that's doing the review for y'all's plans feels like the ordinances are in pretty good shape. Y'all just making moves to tighten things up and try to learn from some of these other parishes out of you guys as to the growth that's gonna come this way. So as far as that, recommendations for that, you guys are feeling and expressing that y'all think all of the spot to do that, outside of the appendix.
Well, everything else is bigger.
Everything else is bigger, more.
Well,
Minimal lot size.
Minimum lot size, except commercial. Commercial's gonna be, they can be square, but it doesn't make any difference, because they got a preceding lot, that can be commercial, but when they wanna go to minimum lot size, we were talking about it before you even got here, 2 acres across the board, and any variances for, man, let's say a guy only has 2 sons, and he's got 1 acre now, he wants to split it in half, that's a variance.
Understood.
Comes to zoning, we hear the variance, he's got a legitimate reason, because he can't make more land. That's it, we're done. We'll make a recommendation based on a variance, but across the board, minimum lot size will go 2 acres. And the reason we have this lumped in here, because that's the whole impetus behind all the other changes. Once they get that 2 acre minimum lot size in, then that moratorium stuff, that's been resolved. The rest of it is how procedures on what we do after that.
And you guys only have maybe 45 days, I guess, left to go.
That's gonna have to be extended, because it's impossible to do what they need to do now.
I've talked to a few of the jurors, and we have a few that will support it. We asked a couple that are not, but.
In support of extending it.
Extended it for another month or so. That's basically what, if we can get tonight, if we can get set a public hearing a month from now, get this stuff sent to Sam, let Sam review it, be ready for the public hearing to present, and then do our present, and then they gotta turn around a week later, set a public hearing, and then them present. We should be, we have, I'm correct in that we have to have 2 public hearings.
I would imagine.
One for us and one for them, right?
I would imagine we need to show everyone a very tangible, written, R1 is where we need to put it. I mean, that's single family residential, low population district. Your R2 is medium to high population, or you not want to do it in R2.
it's gonna be minimum lot size, period, it's gonna be in the definition, not even gonna be in the R one.
And in the appendix, we kind of put that in there. It's just kind of sprinkled in there, but it stands. I mean, that's one of the recommendations. I'm hoping you all have a copy of the changes made to.
Question I have.
Nikki, what's your email address?
I have one. You want to print one copy?
No.
Copy of that picture?
Can we make a copy of it?
Absolutely. It's one page.
The
It's one, 2, 3 copies.
PDF that was sent.
Oh, I didn't get it. Yes, sir. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Will you leave me?
Well, that's fine.
Huh? Yes,
Only a
sir.
couple
They
pages.
take sometime.
And it's some chunks. I mean, I think that you have seen this before. We discussed this probably back in August. I think August 15th was one of the biggest stuff.
Subdivision regulations.
The appendix, yeah.
Who has one?
I got one.
Two. 1, 2, 3.
JR.
You have one. 4. Who needs one?
Yeah.
My question on the moratorium
Anderson.
was the only reason the jury said he's gonna put a moratorium in like the lot sizes?
That's what they were trying to get changed, lot size.
So it wasn't this 5-acre minimum with a gravel road that the developer builds and all that stuff?
That
I
was-
think
yes,
in the
that-
definition.
That is already,
of large and small.
can be ridiculous. That's the
They
2-acre lot size, once that changes, everything else would run until we get the rest of it.
They did the moratorium when Dexter was, when we came downstairs, you know.
Yeah.
We're already underway with some of the other discussions, stuff that we've been talking about for the last couple of years. Dexter had some stuff that they had been talking about, went down there and met. Then he went back and they decided to do a moratorium until the 2 acres, and we did the revisions, the basic revisions of the ordinance.
I feel like the 2 acres is what started.
Yeah.
But which that directly answers your question.
So if we said, okay, the only thing that changes is the minimum lot size goes to 2 acres, moratorium comes on. So people, all right, so now we'll have more of these 20-acre patches split up into 5-acre blocks with a gravel road down the middle of it again.
No, it's gonna be on surface, it's gonna be on surface, because they can't do that now anyway.
Why is that?
If they don't have frontage.
Why?
Well, y'all have to- you can do that.
One and more.
This is changing that, though.
So-
This is
Yeah.
intended to change.
Yeah.
I didn't see that anywhere. All I saw addressed was 2-acre minimum. So my question is, if you look at A, classification of subdivision procedure, A1, so simple subdivisions. I'm assuming that with 5 lots or less, that defines simple subdivisions. Because I don't see definitions for simple subdivisions or major or minor subdivisions anywhere
Just
else. So
anything above 5 lots is gonna go into major or minor subdivision.
where are those defined?
That's all of your subdivision regulations. That says you have to build a road that will meet parish standards. That means that road is gonna have to be adopted by the parish.
Is
as a
there
public
anything above
roadway.
5, but is there a difference between major or minor?
I thought there was a question about definitions on that, the major and minor thing.
There has been, but I don't see any,
I thought
I
that was
don't know
one of the.
where that's defined.
It's to split it up, so if you're on a highway, 19, and you have that public road frontage, and you have 1,000-foot road frontage, you can get 10 lots out of it.
I understand, yeah, I understand that part. 20 acres, you could put 10
When
lots.
you get to 6 lots, you're gonna have to shift into the major subdivision regulations. Because you're gonna need to do more things. You're gonna need to make sure that you're not impacting drainage negatively. You're gonna have to bring back a DIS. You're gonna have to make sure that you're not.
Right, now I'm trying to understand, maybe that's not all in the appendix, maybe that's in this somewhere else, but just section 5.
What
Page
section?
17 in that subdivision regulations.
Page 17?
Page 17. That's what it talks about minor subdivisions. But there's a proviso in any of these ordinances.
Wait, hold on a second, page 17, not this appendix?
That's getting into the family partition.
And that's what they say, that's what they say.
One more.
Oh, Matt.
vote, there are two spots where things are dictated, there's a what's, there's an appendix. Appendix A gives you a guideline of, these ordinances refer to that appendix. What you see green in 17 is that.
That's what you, we talking about.
Everything before that, procedure, preliminary plat, construction documents, final plat, all of that applies to both major and minor subdivisions.
So this classification of subdivision procedure, A1 says simple subdivision with 5 lots or less with a minimum 100 feet public road frontage. I'm assuming that implies each of the 5 lots have a minimum of 100 feet road frontage.
Correct.
That could be read, maybe a couple different ways. It can be read that the simple subdivision has 200 acre road frontage. It can also be read that each of the 5 lots have 100 acre road frontage. Is there a way to put with 5 lots or less, each lot having a minimum 100-foot public road frontage?
So you would suggest maybe rewording.
Well, just like with each lot having public road frontage.
And that's it with each lot. I mean, I could put that between with and minimum.
Yeah, with each having minimum, instead of, page 1 of 31, just page 1.
Okay. Each newly created lot will not be allowed to be subdivided unless
You could read, when I first read it, I'm like, okay, well, this is back to the, all I gotta have is 100-foot road frontage, and I just have 5 lots. But what it means is, each lot has to have that road frontage.
I'll leave anything up to question. I'll read it one way, I
Yeah.
see it in other places.
So, Sandy just brought up the question, have we discussed about moving to 125?
When we moved, we changed measurements just to make them a little more rectangular. 2 acre lot is only 100 foot wide, will be long and skinny.
I agree. But that's
That's
up to
what
you
we're
guys.
saying.
We have 90-foot lots where I'm at.
Yes.
100-foot lot, 300-foot deep and long and skinny. You know, it makes an 80-foot house with a driveway tight when you're back in your boat. But are you getting into the business of dictating that? That's up to you
Well, I mean,
guys.
if they want more, and then on that note, that's a minimum, and they should make it more appealing to do it 200 foot wide.
Free enterprise, your lot might not sell. I don't know.
Right, well, that's true, I mean, 100.
That's not, yeah.
Well, we've got some stuff that's coming here, 100 by 500, we've seen.
People won't buy that, that's.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they may not sell. I mean,
I still,
if you want to make it wider.
JR, I don't know if I have the right ordinance.
What page you on, you on 131, where are you at?
I'm unable to find where major and minor are.
In your current ordinances? I
So,
don't, it's not.
what I'm
defined as that in
understanding,
your current
this is
ordinance.
changing everything to a minimum lot size.
You just have a subdivision,
It's
you're allowed to do the 4 lots.
square feet.
Private gravel road that you know right.
Nothing residential in the parish will be
Everything else is a subdivision.
less than 2 acres.
It is. You're trying to tighten that, and make it more clear.
Which I'm okay with that.
Then I think we should.
I'm just saying 2 or 3 of that, we
Yeah.
need to get on the same
I mean,
page.
that's
So
the
we
whole
should
thing.
define lots.
I think what you have is a proposal, I don't see.
This right here, I can tell you, he's a Jody, not that.
Oh, the appendix was?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The draft appendix changes.
It has the year listed at the bottom. It says 2011, parish subdivision ordinance adopted September 6, 2011. I'm not sure when Jody got here.
Minimum lot size.
It's the editor's.
But this is.
I'm trying to really understand, what is it, what's actually in the ordinance right now versus what?
So this appendix that I have the word grass on, this sits in that ordinance. Is it approved? This is, everything in your ordinance refers to this appendix? And I took new things that I put in it, put it green, I took old things, scratched it out, and put it in red,
I saw that.
trying to make it fit in what you have. We find works well.
Yeah. I like what you've done, what I'm trying to understand is how, maybe I don't need to worry about it, but if I'm a developer and I wanna come by 200 acres
Where you
and
store.
put 42 acre lots on it, how do I know if I have a major or a minor subdivision?
Once you hit five.
Five lots.
It's what? A major or a minor?
You hit five.
Five is minor, six is plus.
Those two words can be taken out, and we can call it a major subdivision, if that helps clear it up. So I'll tell you, I think at least in Ascension, it goes up to 20, maybe there's different requirements with a subdivision less than 20 lots. I don't think that it is.
I thought we had some talk about that a few months ago, where if I'm gonna put 8 lots in it, do I have to have a certain type of sewage system? Versus if I'm putting 50 lots in it, now I have to do something, I have to have a different septic system.
Dictated by the LDH, Louisiana
So
Department.
not major, minor, dictated by us.
No, sir. That's minimum 1 acre lots. And when you get over a certain number, I think you have to have a sewer collection system if the lots are smaller. I think that you're gonna have it where it's minimum 2 acre lots.
Yes.
Every house is gonna be required before they get a certificate of occupancy from you.
You got one of these?
That's right.
Yeah.
This,
Which
Bill?
has the,
Is
the
this-
thing,
Yeah, we
yeah,
got
1
right
acre.
No,
Okay.
I just know that they
So
will get their
what-
certificate of occupancy
Until
without
you
their
see those
environmental
check
approval.
boxes.
Except,
Maybe I'm the
But
only
I
one.
what do you put in
I
the
do
green?
know that there was question about the verbiage, so if we need to fix a few
That
words to
goes
make it
without
clearer,
for us.
that was the issue, was the verbiage.
I would agree with that.
That's what I'm trying to, that's what I'm struggling with, is
I mean, it may be,
what major or minor means if we don't have that defined.
And even if that, yeah, and even if it is defined at the LDH, it still would be nice to have it clarified here too, in this ordinance as well.
statement before you get your final plat, number 11 on page 24 of 31, it says a statement of method of sewage disposal must be signed by the owner developer. They have check boxes here at your parish that says they can't do it without seeing a
Yeah.
letter of approval from DHH or LDH.
I think that was just an example of a difference between a major and a minor. My question just goes back to, if there is no difference in our parish between a major and a minor subdivision, then we should just call this something else. If we're gonna,
I'm with you. Because right now there is no difference, bud.
Yeah.
And I might have overcomplicated by putting those two words in there and getting us off
That
track
helps
with
me.
it.
Yeah.
And
and
I
I'm the only one that's confused about it, but.
mean, look in front of the word major and minor, all of the subdivisions on page 2. The first one's a simple division, the second one's all other subdivisions. So that doesn't matter if it's on public road frontage, you're gonna get to where you divide in 4 lots. You're gonna start making impacts to traffic, you're gonna start making impacts to watershed, you're gonna start making impacts to the utilities that are available.
So simple, we're saying it's 5 lots or less.
That, put that number.
Anything greater than 5 lots, we're considering, what are we gonna call that? Do we just say major, just say, hey,
Simple and
you can define it, you can just define it in that sentence. Subdivisions with greater than 5 lots, parentheses, major subdivisions.
However you don't want it.
That
Well,
would help.
Now, simple is defined as much by road frontage. Is anything, I mean, simple, if simple does not have road frontage, simple has to have road frontage
You're not creating a new lot unless there's public road frontage.
on a simple. So that everything 1 to 1,000 falls in subdivisions.
Yeah.
Let's
If
just
the
say,
road has to be
let's
created.
just say 6 to 1,000.
Okay.
Because even if you have the road frontage, I think they're pushing to get it to where you're gonna have impacts that are negative to, like I say, your existing utilities, water,
Yeah.
fire, you're getting to where you have an impact on the infrastructure, and we need to investigate this a little bit more. and put it into the-
there's a statement in one of these drafts, and that's the trouble, we got too many
We got
drafts.
too many drafts.
We got too many drafts. There's a statement in one of them that says,
this commission, particularly one example would be Linwood subdivision, where you got 24 lots up and down the road, straight down the road. That's a major subdivision. We don't have to accept it as a simple subdivision. We just push it to the jury, put in a plan, they're gonna approve it because it's gonna impact water, fire, police, and access to the roads.
That's part of the problem that's happened out there, they're running out of water out there, and we've got
And
a
it's
massive amount of lots.
those, because once we look at the preliminary plan, no, this is more than a simple subdivision, we're gonna push this to the jury for approval, because it impacts infrastructure, period. And then you submit your plan to the jury, and they can either approve it or not.
And how many,
Set a public hearing and everything.
can I ask how many drafts y'all are looking at?
I only wanna be looking at.
I'm only
one.
operating on
I have
one.
gotten thoroughly
I should
confused
be looking at more, please
with all
tell
the
me.
other
That's the only
drafts.
one I've ever seen.
Okay, so let's just,
I know that y'all gone through them over
And
the
I sent
years.
those things everywhere.
Not to me.
let's,
Yeah, you got, I got from Jim.
JR, I think I've seen some of those, I've seen it with blue writing on them, and if, I don't know if this is the one that I,
This is the current one here that you've marked out. But we spent months dividing major things to get us in line with state law. We have the final say on petitions. Sure, they don't go to the jury. Until we can get our ordinances aligned that way, anything that has infrastructure goes to the jury. That's why it was split from subdivision regulations to developments.
anything that requires new infrastructure,
Impact the infrastructure.
impacts infrastructure.
New roads, okay, if it's, but Linwood's are on a highway, they don't have any new roads, but they impact water, schools, fire, drainage, it all, that impacts infrastructure. That, although it's, would fit simple division,
So let me ask,
Goes up.
simple division is 5 or less, is what we're proposing in this draft here.
so with the other two drafts that were flying out there, those two drafts, are those, would it be the intentions, because I understand that you guys had a subcommittee maybe formed that were appointed by the police jury?
3 or
right?
4 of them.
So is it the intention that that supplement a portion of the ordinances and or the appendix in its entirety?
The part that was split off major is pretty much the appendix. The only one that did was the petition part, the subdivision, what was called subdivision regulations. Not government, it's not an ordinance.
I think I have those.
This body
Print those
here.
off of it.
This body here governs subdivision regulations. In other words, if we need to have somebody present to present a map,
Mhm.
all we gotta do is say, we're not looking at another map until somebody's present, surveyor or owner. And we're done, because that petition falls solely on this commission. It doesn't impact infrastructure, it impacts petitions.
Would it take the entire appendix A?
No, that's, no. it
Push it
takes-
to the side? and-
No, it takes a large chunk of Appendix A and moves it into a regular ordinance. In other words, not an appendix in the back of the ordinance book. It makes it a separate major development ordinance, which covers just about everything we're talking about. But it splits out what has to go to the jury and what doesn't have to go to the jury. And right now, everything goes up.
Do we need to decide as a body which direction we're gonna go in
So,
with these?
conversation there. So, when we were talking about taking, I know some of the rejection from some of that stuff is that the police jury doesn't want, and we've had this discussion here and sitting in this group, that the police jury doesn't want to lose any control that they do have. Anything that we're sending to them to be approved, they want to keep to be approved, you know, and that's been the conversation. I know it may not be what we want to do, it may not be what some of the rules are.
The state says we don't have to.
The state says we don't have to, but every time we mention it, the police jury as a whole fluffs up that they're not getting the,
Now, you guys are an appointed body, not an elected body.
Right.
I don't know, some points of that, the elected body has to have the final say so.
I understand that. I mean, but what I'm saying is, I think that's why they're bucking some of the other stuff, is because some of the ordinances are pulling some of their approvals and their authority away from it.
We used to make recommendations to our council for approval or denial. I'm not sure if that's what you guys
Yeah.
think.
So can I call for a proposal here? It sounds like we have a lot of work that was done in the past that has a lot of good information in it that this body wants to look at again and work towards getting into the ordinances. Because some of those drafts I've seen from JR did have a lot of good stuff in there that obviously somebody worked for a lot of time. Right now, we have one, maybe two things in front of us. We have the 2-acre lot thing, and the police jury said we want something very quick on it. I want to revisit some, I think a motion we had a couple meetings ago about trying to salvage the private servitude subdivision stuff. And we asked engineers to work on it and give us a proposal for what this gravel road should be and all that kind of stuff. Then it turned into, well, the engineer wasn't getting paid, so we're not working on that, and now they got paid. I wanna know where that went, but I think just in a spirit of trying to accomplish something, we should go through this as it is, work the specific 2-acre request that the police bureau has made, get that approved, and then write down, okay, what's the next thing we're supposed to work on? Instead of trying to put it all together and get all of it done, then we carve out just the 2-acre requirement that the police bureau is trying to put out there, get that approved and done, and then work these other things that have come up over in the past.
We won't have a chance again.
Can we define these other things?
It took a heck of a lot of begging to get the opportunity to look at the ordinances and get started.
So we're saying I don't even know
I've
what
been
all.
working on this for 6 months, 8, well, year and a half, trying to get to this point.
Old business item A needs a proposal, okay?
We need to get.
You need a recommendation for the zoning ordinance revision concerning R1 minimum lot size.
Right.
That's the ask I thought was.
Okay.
That's old business item A, okay? So we can make a proposal to raise minimum lot size to 2 acres concerning the R1 minimum lot size.
And document it this
Yeah.
way.
We can do that and set a public hearing. Can't we? Not?
We can, but if we miss the second part, they're not gonna,
Now,
they're gonna throw the,
let's,
they're gonna throw the moratorium back.
So what's the rest
And
of
then
it?
we're gonna be, we've gotta get together.
so,
We've gotta get together on this somehow. And
So
if we don't
then-
wanna do it, we're gonna have to do it, because once this is done with, they're not gonna give us an opportunity to redo ordinances again.
so for
It's gonna be,
item A,
it's gonna do the same thing that they've
What
done
else are they
decades
asking
twice.
for? That's what maybe I'm confused about. What else are they asking for?
They're wanting to end the complaints, just take Pipes Lane type stuff. They're trying to end the complaints like they're having on Pipes Lane. They're trying to get through some of that stuff. And that's where some of this subdivision they're getting complaints from them, they're sitting in the community, they're getting some complaints from the fire and the water districts about not being able to service. The sheriff's department is complaining.
Post office quit delivering.
Ma'am,
Post
I think the
office?
post office quit delivering to houses on
on service.
servitude.
So I mean, you're
A
running into
fire
a lot
truck
of
got
things.
stuck, someone's died.
That's what our police jury wants us to, it's given us an opportunity to weed out. But, and they're using it, they're standing on the back of, one juror recommended to have the lot sizes brought up to 2 lots, to 2-acre lots. And when he did that, everybody jumped on kind of on the bandwagon with the help of, lost their names, who met with,
What?
Dexter
Yeah.
and pushed for having the ordinances redone. And they all agreed to push through 6 months, because they were also, they saw the week before they put the moratorium in, was when Jeff had like 30 phone calls about chopping up little pieces of property to, when St. Francisville announced that they were coming, they shut theirs down and had the big project starting to go on over there. So that's where we stand. My concern is, if we don't push through before the moratorium gets taken out, you have a ton of people standing there waiting to jump right now on all these little small
look,
chopped
you
up.
can, okay, but what I'm saying is the changes to the subdivision ordinance have to be discussed in public meeting anyway, right? You
Yes.
gotta have a
Yes,
We're
sir.
gonna have to have a public meeting anyway.
Yes, sir.
The engineer has already been given suggestions
By us.
by us to edit the changes to the subdivision ordinance. Cannot the engineer present those at the public hearing, and then we make a recommendation going from the public hearing?
I think so.
Isn't
and-
that
I
how
would
that works?
understand that's how it would do.
Yeah,
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah,
Okay.
Recommendations
So-
to the police.
So let's divide and conquer here.
absolutely.
Okay, when, as pertains to 6A old business, all
That's
this,
concerned. That's
Huh?
done. That seems to be done, the 6A old business, or the.
And that's this
lots of
draft
it.
right here.
make a recommendation. For the zoning ordinance revision, R1 minimum lot size.
Right.
Do we need a motion to raise R1 minimum lot size to 2 acres from this body tonight?
Not only R1, from what I'm hearing across the board. You wanna
No,
take R2?
it's actually minimum lot size is where it is.
Yeah, that's simple. We're gonna put that, you got A, B, C, D, E, and F in your ordinance.
Okay.
It's got minimum width in R1, minimum width in R2. We're gonna say minimum lot size, 2 acres in that ordinance itself, in addition to the subdivision.
Yeah, but it's also, it's in the zoning first.
R1 out? I'm worried about
Yes,
That's the one that needs to be changed, which is only, it's in 12.
I agree.
12.
That's
That's your section, what I'm
I
saying.
don't
is-
know from us, the verbiage and.
R1.
Yeah.
For him. So do you need a recommendation, or do you need a motion?
And if y'all are comfortable with the verbiage, if y'all want to say something else, you want to see it somewhere else, now is the time.
We need time between now and the
That's
hearing.
the, now the verbiage on the right page,
Subdivision
well,
ordinance.
that gives you the actual article numbers that are currently right there.
Yes.
Just take it from there.
That's what I'm looking at.
And this is
Question.
2 acres
We
here,
said
if they want.
a special meeting a couple months ago, which never
And
happened.
Right.
And we talked about 125, just
Couldn't get
because
them
it
involved.
gave us a little
Make
more.
them involved.
Yeah, 8,000, 87,000 square feet, or whatever it is.
Well,
Can we go ahead
when you
tonight?
get 25, I mean, it's 2 acres of, 2 acres,
Public meeting,
2 acres,
next
say
meeting we have
7,000,
here,
125.
special meeting of
Frontage
iron
gives you a
out,
little bit more
iron out.
sewer disbursement across the front.
That's up to y'all, but I don't know if we have enough time
I think it's.
To do what?
Required public hearing.
to on another special meeting.
Yeah, I think it's a required public hearing. By that time, we should have all this work, that should all get worked out. And then you have the public hearing,
We have a public hearing on whatever they present that night.
right? And unless
You're
it's,
either gonna vote on it or not vote on it.
right,
You can make changes.
I would like for y'all to see it, now, getting feedback before we go to
that's
the
why we're leaving it to this.
Public hearing before public hearing, we're gonna have to have our legal advisor see it. He wants to see it.
Oh,
So
understood.
I mean, so he's gonna have to see it too, so it's,
He's really gonna chime in on the ordinance portion of this. It's gonna be an official way that has to be done. That's your planning,
What I'm
Article
saying is,
6, your planning and zoning ordinance.
can we have another meeting where we're all discussing it before we sit down and say this is the draft we want the public to do? Even though we set up a public meeting.
That's this draft.
But do we have enough?
That's that.
Yeah, but you can't really take that draft to a public meeting right now if Sam hadn't looked at it and Sam wants to make changes to it.
Right.
right.
What you asked us was to look at this,
Mhm. Yay, nay, change, whatever,
Bring-
right now.
questions to this meeting to ask, to talk to the engineers about, so they can go back and make some updates. I don't know how long it would take you to take our feedback or updates
Call
and
us
send
next
back
week.
to us,
Yeah.
but we could then send that to Sam before the public hearing. Go ahead and set the public hearing, send that to him.
Sam, are you okay with this? So,
I'm looking at my, I'm saying, but I think we'll be all right.
Public hearings, though, the one we've had is just input. Sam's input's part of it, the public's input's part of it. What goes to the jury has to be a smooth draft,
Yes.
because they have to turn around and do another public, they're doing the official ordinance change public.
Correct.
This is just recommended changes, be it Sam, be it the public, be it us, or whatever. Once Sam looks at it and changes it, okay, it's gonna have more credence than
Yeah, but
Joe Public.
you know as well as I do, we fill this room up with people, okay?
they want you on it.
And they chew on it, and we're not gonna be able to make a change to it. Either we're gonna vote on what's there, or we're gonna vote against it. One or the other. We're not gonna be able to sit here and say, no, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, and make changes.
Yeah, but if you do that,
So-
that's an endless feedback loop.
Yeah.
It
You're
is.
never gonna make everybody happy, you're
No.
never
We're
gonna get a
not, and
perfect
that's what I
product.
say, we can't do it that night.
while it may be chaotic, if you guys are looking over this and you scratch, I don't care, I told Josh, I don't care if y'all look at it, scratch it out, and take a picture. I would like for one person to give direction to corral the chaos,
So-
what the urgency is, look at it, scratch it out. Tell me what part you think this, I think it's gonna be your job to sell that car to the public.
So here's,
I just have a quick question as a resident. What is the minimum lot size for a major subdivision? It's still gonna be 2 acres?
2.
And that's official?
Not till jury changes.
Currently, it's 12,500 square feet.
12.5.
Not that I'm bucking it, but just as a resident speaking, 2 acres for like a family like me. I have a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and I just got married. I can't afford the property that my parents gave me. They gave me 2.75 acres. We've already had it appraised at 150. So you're talking about a new family coming in. It's just something to think about. I couldn't afford it. Not now, not with 2 babies and a mortgage and, I don't know. I just, if you're gonna do a major subdivision, I don't understand why maybe the lot sizes can't be a little smaller so that you can have some
so
starter
that is being
home.
dictated by.
You have to look at the intent of it. The intent of it is to help manage some of the growth
Right.
and to help suppress.
Well,
There are variances for everything. You can
Yeah,
apply for
I
everything.
know. I mean, just thinking of it as like a 30-year-old person.
There needs to be double
It's not
that.
established as well as others.
well, so let's step back and hit some of the, so what's happening is, with it presented like this, I'm not, it's causing some confusion with it just sitting here drawing it. I think it would be better, none of us are qualified sitting here to be able to write these ordinances, okay? That's what we're relying on y'all and the people that work for y'all and the people who y'all are involved with to write ordinances. Can we get bullet points of what we're touching so that we know that we're touching lot size, we're touching that we will create a simple subdivision as it needs to be wrote in our ordinances that only pertains to this, that we.
Do you have a color copy of it?
Well, it's hazy on mine.
A what?
Color
I have one.
That would be very useful.
And that would be.
Bullet point, what are we changing?
So I kinda had that, I mean, I had the bullet points, and I was going in the direction of even the family partition.
So can you present us the bullet points now?
Can I present it to you now?
I mean, you just said you have, I'm not trying to be an ass.
Well, Josh, I mean, Mr. Oakley, I don't ever think that.
If you have
I think that we're all
HDMI,
trying
you can put it on the board.
Yeah, I've already had that. These are the bullet points from August 15th meeting, and nothing's changed with those bullet points. This is really where we are. And scratch the one out that says family partition. Yeah, scratch the one out that says family partition. Well, I put it in there, but you may not want
It
that.
even says bullet points.
And if y'all need more bullet points, I mean,
If you have your HDMI, you can put it on that screen too.
We can just put it in red, this is where I was
oh
proposing.
Lord, I'm gonna use a piece of paper.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't mind looking it up.
Because other than like sitting and reading, like what Bo hit on a few minutes ago with the word just being off a little bit, we don't have the skill or the ability to be able to write these ordinances. There's none of us that know the legality of it or any of that to that effect. If the things we want to touch are presented to us in bullet points and then they are put into here, Sam looks at it and says, hey, that looks good, or whoever who understands it.
These are the bullet,
He did that.
these are the bullet
But
points,
he's done
and
it
that's the
some of
result.
those in here, I know it's phrased in, but I'm just saying to simplify so that we all can have a conversation on 3 or 4 items instead of being
Something
through.
more,
Just
higher level
efficient.
discussion about it versus diving into the details.
So if you like this, and this is the direction we go, if you scratch something out, it's gonna be the minimum lot size. We're gonna go through those ordinances that you have. The ones that are in place, Article 6, planning and zoning ordinance, official legal documents, and you're gonna have Mr. DeQuilla that's going to vet this stuff and make sure that it's legally written, but we're gonna come in here and it's gonna be a couple small spots in every bit of the zoning, and we're gonna say minimum lot size will be X amount, minimum road frontage will be X amount. That's where it tells you the R1, the R2, the C1, the C2.
That's our actual ordinance.
That's actual ordinance. The appendix is the classification and the the rule book, I guess you can say.
Yeah, Division, Article 6, Division 1 starts the planning and zoning ordinance, correct?
Correct.
Division 1. Enactment clause is like.
Section
76.
Yeah,
That's what it's top.
That's where if you guys like the draft, or you like the direction of the draft is going, if y'all can fix it the way you want it to be worded, or
Yeah.
if the spirit of the body of what we're presenting is close to what you want, say yes or no, let me do this, and I'll email this back to y'all. Peace out. I mean, I'll go through Josh with all this stuff, he's the only email contact that I have, and he can disperse it to you all, but.
So I read through it earlier today. I didn't touch every detail of the family partition. The question I had about this implies each of the lots shall touch the public road, we cleared that one up. The other one is around the major or minor, might be able to just leave that out, put all other, so something to where it's clear because it's not defined anywhere in the ordinance. The other issue that I have, or concern that I have, that what we talked about a few months ago, around the whole, should we not require a certain type of gravel road for these private services? Like, my thought is that you were gonna leave, look, we even said East Baton Rouge Parish has a requirement for that. So put that in a draft somewhere for us to look at. And that would be part of the visions that we would consider and talk about. What this is doing, this says you can no longer subdivide property. Take out the exceptions. But you can no longer subdivide property unless all of your lots, if I want to do 5 lots, can't do that anymore unless all 5 lots are on a public road. That's what this proposal would say.
Absolutely.
And which is not what we talked about.
Okay, I want to make sure everyone's on the same page with that.
Yeah, that is not what we talked about a few months ago. There are people that are for that, there are people that are against that. I don't have property that I'm gonna divide. I'm probably not for or against, but I want folks to be clear that moving in this direction no longer allows people to take 20 acres of property that was given to them that's got 500 feet of road frontage or 300 feet of road frontage and divide that anymore as far as divide it depth-wise. You can divide it as long as all of your lots are touching public roads and they have 100 or 125 feet of road frontage. But if we go this direction, no more, I'm gonna put a private servitude down it and have 4 or 5 lots on it.
Does everyone understand that?
So,
So,
I want, yeah, and I'll.
yeah, I want to make sure that's
we're
very clear
about that because
it's a big change.
we had, look, there are a lot of those around the parish. Some folks did driveways really well. Some people took the cheap route and did them poorly, and people are suffering with that now, and they have real implications. Mail delivery, fire trucks can't get down them, police complaining about them, but you also have some that you go to, and they're done beautifully. You can easily access all of the properties because the developer put in a good road. Some of them you can't. What this direction does is it takes away the ability for somebody to do that throughout the entire parish. You can't do it.
Unless they do it through the variance, the hardship, a family partition.
Yeah, take away the exception, which this body is saying.
Okay,
we're not-
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
We're not gonna approve that anymore. Police Bureau says we're not gonna approve that anymore. So that's what I was getting to. The moratorium didn't start for the 2-acre lot size. It started because of the private servitudes with 2 lots on each side of it. That's accurate? And then while they were talking about that, they said, hey, also we want 2-acre lot
It's,
2 acre.
the moratorium actually went on to, in on the 2 acre. It went on 2 acre, but the discussion was the. but
Those private,
those up.
right. So if I right now brought, if I had 20 acres, and I said, it's 150 feet, 200 feet wide, and I wanna put 4 lots on it, only 2 of them are gonna have road frontage. But they're 5 acres each, and I'm gonna put in a private servitude, would I get approved for it?
The way things are now, and this now.
Not with this new stuff
No,
we're
you won't.
proposing.
No, not the new, I'm talking about what's currently
Existing,
approved.
yes.
Yes.
Outside of the moratorium,
Even
yes.
though, no,
Okay.
we have a moratorium right now.
No,
With the moratorium
Yes.
stopping,
You get up to 4 lots, right?
Yeah.
There's a moratorium. Improvements.
Moratorium runs to 4 lots.
His example, though, it would be.
Anything past 4 lots.
You would get approved them,
Oh, so you can still do what he's saying?
Yes.
so you can
Even
still
with the
have a
moratorium
private
and stuff?
Yes.
cause
servitude.
you said 4.
Oh,
Yeah, you can still have a private servitude now.
Yes.
Right this second.
But that's what the police jury wants to get away from, right?
That's been a lot of
Because
discussion.
it's
That's like
complexity.
getting
Even if
complaints.
it's a family,
Even if it's a family.
No,
No,
no.
okay, so
Families
there will
exception.
still be the, okay.
Family,
They are responsible
they
for their
asked
vote.
in
And
the
did we
meeting
define
specifically
family?
not to
Very
include.
much so.
Yeah,
Okay.
the family partition stuff is.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
well defined, it's whether you want it or not.
They said it.
If everything else could be as defined as
Okay.
that.
Just making sure.
Right.
But if they don't,
Until they sell
Well,
it,
if they don't.
until they sell the property.
Which is another deal.
Yeah, but that's, we can't, look,
I can't
Well,
manage that.
I agree
You
with
can't.
you. There's only so much that the parish can manage.
Excuse.
But I just wanna make sure, I wanna make sure we're all clear. If we say, yeah, this is good, that means there are no more private servitude divisions in the parish.
And what is grandfathered in right now is gonna be grandfathered in.
That's
Yes,
So, yeah.
you're not gonna go back and change
Well,
anything.
yeah,
No.
yeah, it's, they're in.
Which is kind of.
The
The
ones
ones
that
that are
are
already built.
They're in, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
ones
but
that are
already built.
But
in
when
the
he
future,
said,
they're not.
and I appreciate you clarifying this in a very clear manner, but once you come out of the moratorium, and this gets put in place, that's gonna go
That's
away.
it.
What's grandfathered in is a de-grandfathered in because it's built, or it has been approved, there's a preliminary plat, or one of the surveyors has it out in permit. You cannot go back, it's gonna say as of this date, no new maps can be presented.
My perspective, I looked through the meetings, I didn't, the ones I have, I didn't see any minutes, but maybe it was a special meeting, they didn't have minutes for or something, I can't remember. But we left here with, if not all, the majority of us agreeing that the engineer was gonna be tasked with bringing something back to us that would salvage the private servitude opportunity for people, but have some requirements around what type of gravel road would have to be put in. Cul-de-sacs, turnarounds, how wide, how, the slope of them, culverts.
And I'm gonna tell you, I was not going in that direction, that's the bidding of you guys, and that's what y'all wanna present. You got a car to shine, decide, and sell, you tell me. If that's what
We
we wanna
talked
do.
about
Cause look, I'll
East
do
Baton
it really,
Rouge having that gravel road.
I'm gonna go pull what
Maybe
they
they'll-
have, I'm gonna go pull what they have and make it work here. I mean, it's,
No,
I'm
no,
not
we're not-
reinventing the wheel.
I'm not trying to complicate things anymore, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it was just me wishful thinking that that's what we thought about, but.
We talked about it.
We did.
And we brought it forward. I don't think it was ever the direction of anybody but that discussion that night. And this stuff has been done since before. I mean, this has been done.
The bullet point?
Yeah, I mean, and basically, I mean, you've added some of this stuff in, but this is where it came from with the other. It doesn't matter to me. I think we're running into a real issue in our parish if we leave them where you can divide it to that effect, where somebody can come in, grab a little tiny piece of property and chop it up. People are putting the Pipes Lane deal, they're putting a mechanic shop, a home mechanic shop on Pipes Lane next door to $1 million house. You know, where you're gonna see it through the woods right there. I mean, I say through the woods, but it's gonna be, there's fence row in the house, you know?
Well, lots, yeah, the lot size, you know, 2 acres.
That's 2 acres in there too. I mean, it's done 2 acres. I was familiar with when it was done.
Okay, well, if you, yeah, we're talking about orienting all along a public road versus orienting the outfall.
No, I can go grab what they have and put it in here
No, I don't-
and make it part of your package
I think that's-
and let it be part of the conversation, because a lot of, more often than not, no one really knows what they want till you give them something they can pick apart what they don't want. It's easier to do that sometimes, and,
Well, and if this is the only shot we have at this, I'd like to hear all of the history that JR's talking about, all of the team that was put together, the committee, and if you're saying there's no reason for us to go forward with just getting approval for the 2 acres to lift the moratorium and working the rest of it later, if there's no opportunity for that, then it sounds like, JR, I know you look frustrated, it sounds like there's a whole lot of information that y'all had in the past that
I've got his stuff
you
here,
think.
it's a lot of stuff in blue, and it really digs into the major and minor subdivision definition. It's a different procedure for both.
And that's, the only thing I see in the draft that rubs me the wrong way is, don't change the fees. Especially when we talk about dropping the fees by
So,
half or less than half, prices don't go.
so to be clear with that, that leaves the parish collecting an administrative fee, and whoever, it doesn't matter if it's your engineering review agency or not, that would give them an opportunity to directly bill the developer. And you charge that engineering firm based on the rates that you have signed in your master services agreement. That developer will pay the engineering firm directly. That way, if they submit a set of plans and there's, what happens sometimes, JR, is somebody will submit a set of plans to hurry up and get them in. We review it, and they basically go back and almost it's been seen where you redesign it almost, so you have to come back and review it again. And you go through that 2, 3, and 4 times, well, before you know it, you collected a $2,500 fee for that.
Well, I don't mind the rest of
And
the
it's called-
thing, I just don't want,
You don't want that part?
that part changed. The rest of it, that's fine. Additional reviews, I don't have a problem with that being charged to.
So, Mr. Josh is saying instead of, them coming to pay us and y'all bill us, they'll work directly with y'all for payment with fees?
If their fees are $2,500, we do $4,000 worth of review, you're on the hook for another $1,500 with public money for someone coming in with a private development. And
That's how it's set up right
that's
now.
not fair.
That's a problem.
That's how it's set up right
It's
now.
been, and things like that have evolved in other parishes throughout time.
That's a problem.
Yeah, but pushing the fees down, lessening the fees is not gonna correct that problem.
No, it's not.
If we can directly, if an ERA can directly bill that developer, you have nothing to do with it anymore.
That's fine.
You're here to pay Nikki's time, and
Yeah,
whoever
the
sits in
initial
Nikki's
stuff.
position, the administrative duties.
So,
If you wanna leave them up there, we can.
so currently,
And we might
how
have
is
to
it set
set that
up,
right now.
how is it set up currently
To where you guys collect $1,000 per
for development?
plat, plus $40 a lot, if it's 100 lots.
So, set up right now, y'all can't bill, our jury, our parish pays everything, once they collect the fee, then they pay y'all for 40 trips out there, whatever.
Whatever it is, yes,
Okay. Then your change is wanting to be where we charge a lower amount, but our parish no longer pays the engineer
Right.
pertaining to that subdivision at all.
Correct.
And it goes direct bill
Correct.
to everything else.
And we don't issue our letter of completion, our engineer certification of approval, whatever that may be, that letter of the final plat, so everything's taken care of on our side.
Me too.
You have, it is a note that I scratched out, really page 16 to 31. Y'all do have it in there, fees are for initial reviews and inspections only, repeat reviews and inspections due to incompletion, errors or omissions will be an extra engineer, will be extra at engineer's cost plus 10%. So there is something in there that protects you guys, I just don't feel like it's enforced. I don't feel like we enforce that. I feel like y'all foot the bill for it now, that's just something that we're trying to open up.
Nikki,
It's really
You know,
about the
actually-
house, cause some of their fees don't even add up to, you know, the engineer fees.
I've never
as
seen
well.
one come in below.
So we really.
Oh,
So what you did is you crossed that out and gave it more definition below?
Yes, sir. And this is something, again, not here to reinvent the wheel, but we see in other parishes, we try to pull things
So
from
I'm
other
all for
parishes.
not using public money.
I don't have any problem, I'd like to leave the fees the way they are now and continue with the direct billing.
But I also don't wanna overcomplicate this
No, that's a
quote
good,
package, but I don't wanna complicate this package to where the police sheriff's gonna say, all right, this is too much to tackle. all at
that's a
one
good one.
time."
All you gotta tell them is, hey, we're no longer spending public money to build private
Private
development.
dollar, yeah, I'm with you. Just be that blunt, that all.
So, why, what would be the reason to reduce? Is to reduce what we have,
I think to be fair
to be more fair to the
well,
developer?
yeah, because what are they coming in here and writing you a $2,700 check for, and then they still have
To
to
be
pay?
here?
Well, I mean, I think it's more reasonable, I think that it's more reasonable to, ascertain that they're pretty serious about it when they come to pay you these fees.
I think that's something that may need to be presented to the jury on their lines, instead of complicated, but I think it's a grand
We can
idea.
tell him, look, we can tell him, leave the fees the same as they were,
Mhm.
and then put this extra definition like we have around making sure the parish isn't gonna foot the bill for it.
Maybe instead of just the note that they had here that I scratched out, maybe that note can be the definition, and we can leave the fees where they are, to where if we pass, and I keep saying $2,500, if we surpass that, then this will help us enforce the collection,
Yes,
not on the parish's dime.
but you would build the developer, you wouldn't build
So-
parish, correct?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you'd be doing the collection, though, trying to get your dollars.
Yes, ma'am.
So right now, we have 0 impact fees of any sort. Those higher fees, they aren't acting as impact, they're acting to pay y'all right now.
There, I think for an engineer to review it, yes.
I didn't realize it was that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're not collecting that money and putting it in a checking account to go build a turn lane, you're not doing that.
Right,
No,
to
you're
do a
not.
turn lane or sign,
That's correct.
sign the road or whatever, right?
Yeah, that would be
Sign the entrance.
that would be $2,000 a lot kind of impact fee that you want to implement, something like that.
Well, to do the lane, but I mean, if you
Per
had to
line.
put signs, caution signs or whatever, at $500 a piece.
But none of that.
That's none of that stuff.
This is just to pay for the administrative portion of this, I mean, I'm gonna say, for lack of better terminology, Nikki's on
Okay,
overhead.
for Miss Nikki.
But I mean, really, it goes to help
Right.
pay the salaries of the administration that you have here at the parish, and then if you have to get it. Before, I think we came along, you guys had an engineer that did it,
On call.
Mr.
Wasn't on retainer.
Ferguson, I think, on retainer.
He was just, when we needed him, he reviewed.
So you wrote that check from him? If you had an account set up for just this, you would write that check out of that account to pay him for his services. No different than what we do. Just more often than not,
We run it over.
it passes that amount up that's collected.
How much did, so just, we talked about Duncan Bridge a minute ago. How much did Duncan Bridge cost?
I have no,
You don't know.
I would have to pull those
Okay,
invoices to
just
see.
I just didn't
Man,
know.
if I had to think, I wanna say $4,400, I could be way off, I mean, I
With
was.
the fees.
I mean,
Well, just what was the whole
But
package,
that's
what
what
you collected versus
we
what
could
you.
do, leave the fees alone with the verbiage that when you exhaust the diesel fees, all of the fees will be direct bills.
No, I don't like exhausting the fees, I like leaving something,
Well, yeah, leave it.
paying for the days worth of time Miss Nikki and Miss Lorna spend tinkering with it, that's a few $100s there. Jeff's gonna go out there.
Yes.
That's a few times, it's gonna pay his trips out there at $150 a trip, that type of deal,
I think the fees stay the same,
I agree.
and then
Look all the rest of it.
this assumes you got, does it say, hey, you're gonna get 1 inspection or 2 inspections? We're gonna do a preliminary review. Any reviews beyond that are gonna be direct.
Well, inspections
Zero
are
trouble.
as needed, and all of our stuff as far as inspections go at the bottom, it says if more inspections are required, fees will then just follow that.
And I feel like I'm not sure that's enforced.
No,
That's
I
the
mean,
note that
he's
we
pretty
scratched out.
lenient, but I mean, it'd be nice to.
Sir?
How much reduction are you
On
looking at?
page 16.
Yeah, like 16 to 31.
I mean, are you cutting them in half, or what are you doing?
I mean, we're taking a preliminary plat review fee from $500 plus $20 a lot to $400 plus $15.
I wouldn't go down.
The biggest one is an inspection fee of $2,500 plus $100 a lot. Pay us directly for that, and y'all just collect $500 for Jeff's time to go out there and do his inspection. Construction drawing fee,
But they putting in.
you have no idea how many times, you have no idea how many times you're gonna go back and forth with the construction
Well,
drawings.
then you don't catch
They don't have good
inspections,
plans
they
on
start
it. Or
building too,
somebody's
so.
dipping their toe in the water. Um, put that at $500 to collect for administrative, go from $1,000 plus $40 a lot to $500 plus $30 a lot.
And then
You
goes,
take care of the administration and we bill directly for that. If that goes to $10,000 because they changed their mind or did something different, or it wasn't a good set of plans and they can't get it right,
washed it, right,
that's on them.
That is true.
that's the truth, you know,
Yeah,
that
I
road,
learned that the hard way.
road was washed with them.
There's-
I see, so like the inspection thing would be a
Like
fee.
eat the cost, cause they fees
Josh,
wasn't
we
enough
take
to
out the
cover
word
the
review
engineers.
on the plat and make filing fees. On both of those construction drawing, inspection, take it all the way out, make that direct bill. For your inspections and, any changes to the construction file plans, drawings, in other words, if you're paying X amount of dollars to the jury to file your construction things, what upon review, you gotta send it back to them again? That they change, in other words, make the verbiage to where, no, make the verbiage to where when they start going back and forth with y'all, that's a direct bill. The only thing that's $500 is the initial file, construction plans. The
Also,
process-
you put initial file.
Yeah.
Anything after direct bill.
Well,
Preliminary plats are usually pretty easy to,
Hmm?
preliminary plats are usually pretty easy, and will allow a change of, 10% of the density of the lot without imposing any additional costs, but look,
I think you've heard enough of the fair, we don't want to change the fees, leave the fees the same.
yeah, that's what I'm doing that, but potentially add some of that verbiage in the bottom to help
Yes.
clarify it, maybe not all of it, but.
I like the idea of leaving fees,
I agree.
absolutely.
That
The
seems
only thing you're
to me.
gonna run into, I think, is you're charging for an inspection fee. So if they're filing that, they're thinking you're paying for the inspection.
And there's a list of inspections that have to happen. That fee covers that list of inspections.
Not, y'all talking about two different things, we ain't talking about building
Oh,
inspection,
you
we
talking
talking about construction inspections, when they put down the road, that man's gotta go fix, he's gotta go check.
So we make
drainage
sure that it's
and
gonna pass
things.
a proof roll.
Well, that's what I
Make
was
sure
saying,
that-
because they're doubling up, really, I mean, because they pay for those inspections, and then they have to turn around and pay us for inspections.
When you do a cross drain, we have an inspector that's trained through DOT to make sure that the
Right.
vetting for that cross drain was done properly, and it's not gonna collapse on you 5 years later, and you have a dip in your road, making sure that all that stuff's done correctly.
So should it say the parish
And-
inspection fee versus?
It's just, it's the you only talk about subdivision, don't get Jeff's inspection fees confused with that, because that's individual building permits.
Now, Jeff's out there when we do this.
That's a whole, yeah, that's a whole separate thing. Jeff's not putting his name on the line to say that road's good.
Correct.
That's
You
you.
do that.
There's still lines in years for the parish going out.
Yeah, we want him by our
Make
side to
sure
see what he sees, we want him to understand, yeah.
So, only thing, I don't disagree with not lowering it by any means, but the verbiage would have to change if we're gonna turn around. It can't be an inspection fee, if we're gonna charge them $2,500, okay? Alright, it can't be an inspection fee and then we charge them for an inspection again, you see what I'm saying?
But.
Maybe we just won't charge them for an inspection until you don't pass the proof roll, or you have to do something, you have to rip some cross drains out, and you get past that $2,500 plus $100 a lot, you get past that point, and that's when we.
How many inspections? So, if it came down to listing, your inspection fee covers 5 inspections, whatever, I don't know, maybe
Right.
14, I don't know what it means, so I don't know what it is.
Probably 10, depending on what they're doing, if they're putting a bulkhead in or not a bulkhead, or if they're putting a weir in or something, we need to make sure the concrete's poured right. Those things are going into public infrastructure.
Inspections on y'all's billing rate, sending a man out there. One of y'all's inspections is costing us more than $250 on that.
Probably by the time he drives out, it's an hour drive out, so let's just say he's at,
He's an hour.
pull it out
an
of the
hour.
air, and let's just say it's an hour inspection, an hour drive there, an hour drive back, at $110 an hour, whatever our inspector, and don't quote me on that price, but $330 easily. He's waiting around or something, or
If
they're
he's
digging
out
that
there, they're
trench.
digging it, he's waiting for him to finish it, or packing, or whatever while standing there.
Good gosh.
And it's going well, it has gone well so far.
But the parish could take a bath on that, like a serious bath.
I think that's a small price to pay to make sure that the responsibility of those roads fall on someone that
I'm not talking about y'all's price being a bad.
Oh, no,
I'm talking
I
about the way
understand
the
that.
fees are
Yeah.
here right now, are being with, it's, I mean, y'all
Well,
are saying this is this.
it's
But I mean,
necessity.
yes, but what they're having to pay, this doesn't cover.
No.
If you had 10 inspections for 3,000, 30, and 30-something $100 right there. And right now we have $2,500, you know, so I mean,
I don't have the data available, and if he probably has the data available, to be able to pull that and see what was collected versus what was spent. I could probably do that.
Even if
Do we even want to dive into that before?
I think
trying
we're
to
just a
present
little
to
deep
the-
right now.
But if you leave the fees and just put multiple re-inspections that surpass fees paid will be direct billed.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that way,
Set a
puts the
number.
only, we don't, it leaves it general enough to,
We have a
Make it-
problem, we have a problem with one of the roads not having suitable soils.
Yeah.
They have
And
full
they all
soils
do
out.
that right first time.
And we had to get it, we had to get them to come out. We had to hire us up, we had to hire a geotech, it probably cost $1,300, $1,200 to hire a geotech to come out here and take soil samples, sample soil, make sure it wasn't suitable, and make a recommendation of what needs to go down before we allow them to move forward with that.
I like the way JR put it.
Yeah, anything over these amounts, we pay.
Figure out an amount.
multiple re-inspections.
But leave where we need an admin fee to pay for those links.
That's gonna be part of it.
So however it goes, if it takes, if your cut number is 5 inspections, those 5 inspections cost us $2,000, there's still $500 sitting there covering those ladies. You know
So
what I'm
who
saying?
reviews the plat?
The preliminary plat and final plat, us, we do. Your engineer review agency, we are sitting as your ERA right now.
Construction drawing review
Yes.
being $1,000 and $40 a lot, that sounds about right for repairs not to have.
I sure would hope that we don't put any more than 8 and 10 hours into a construction drawing review, but when it goes back and forth a few times, you can start to eat into that. Y'all have there are a lot of good engineers out there doing a lot of good work, putting up good plans, and they know what the expectations are. I hear a lot of echoing that y'all's ordinances are pretty clear. I think there was a lot of fear that they weren't, but I think when people apply your ordinances, they're pretty clear as to what you need. You've got open ditches, you've got roads that are very well defined. The base works for most of your soils until you come across a situation where the soils are unsuitable, and you have to stabilize that. You have to stabilize that base.
Okay. So don't lower the fees and maybe add a administrative fee.
Define the administrative fee, define the cutoff point. Define that the $2,500 buys you 5 inspections or whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? And that gives a cutoff and leaves dollars sitting.
That makes sense?
Don't even define how many. Once inspection fees surpass 2,500, you'll be direct billed.
Well, if you look at it,
And
that note that I scratched out says that.
Yeah.
That's not, yeah.
We just further defined it a little bit more. I will go back to that note and
My-
And
Listen, these
just
definitions.
add will be direct billed,
My
and
concern
that way when
is if
the
you
engineering firm, whoever it is,
We go
says they
this
passed
fast.
$2,500, they tell them,
What
okay, you
Josh
ran
is
out of your
saying,
money,
But
any
if you
fees,
surpass
any more
it,
inspections,
only
it's
3
coming out of
months
your
an
pocket.
inspector spent 6 hours out.
And
there
leave it
to
at
do
that.
And you only get 3 inspections out of it, you're gonna have an argument that we only did in each of both ways.
Don't put the number of inspections
no,
there.
no.
Just put the,
All time.
If
All
it's,
time.
it's probably spends more time inspecting, that's their problem. They didn't do the job to start off.
That's correct.
Weren't quite ready. And those contracts are good about
Okay.
today at 10:26, backhoe's going to ground, can you be there? And we asked them to give us 24 hours notice. They're pretty good with not letting anyone waste their time.
I think he's got.
Especially $100 an hour. For backhoe.
Yeah, they want to get it done as quick as possible.
Exactly, that man's got
That's correct.
equipment there, he's only gonna have that for so long.
Okay,
You wanna go through family partitions, he wrote that in there.
What were you changes on family petition?
give it to you.
He,
You don't have-
a whole bunch of,
You had small little things that something
pages,
about family
that's right.
partitions can be an exception, and we wrote it into a hardship, basically. Very well defined what a family member is, and, the purpose of this family partition is because we are, right now, taking out that, can't take 4 lots and there is no more private road able to be put down once this goes into place. So I'd say, don't waste our time on family partition if you don't intend to take that away. If you wanna keep the 4 lots, private road, gravel road in, and we wanna go define the way to do that, by defining a better road, then there's probably not much of a need for this now. This doesn't hurt anything, in my opinion. Family partition being in here, defining what a family partition is, I think that's something that every citizen holds near and dear to their heart. They want to be able to have a mechanism to give a piece of property to their family members.
But I do agree with Bo, that we're gonna have to put some stipulation on their roads. If they wanna have care by an ambulance service or a fire service, they need to be able to have a road for them to be able to get there. So how are we gonna do that?
That's not even defined here.
Well,
Is that kind of what you were alluding to?
it could be applied to the family partitions, yes. My comments were around, instead of taking away the ability for somebody to subdivide their property
Okay.
when they don't have public road access, instead of taking that away, let's work to define what type of road would be acceptable for the parish to be okay with them having that subdivision.
I apologize for that, for saying that wasn't in here. Page 18, G, 2AI. When a private access servitude services 3 or more lots, the minimum construction standard for private servitude shall be, and that could be, leaving it without doing a family partition, but it tells you what the road should be. Road bed is 24 foot, road itself 20
There's
foot.
your,
So it does take care of what you're,
Okay,
it does talk about that.
okay, okay.
but, Bo, you could take that and you could apply that to what you're saying about.
Well, I'm not, it doesn't sound like there are others in the group that are interested in leaving that private servitude type subdivision in the ordinance.
Okay.
So, I would vote that we do, the others sound like they don't wanna have that.
Well,
Which is a big change.
It's a big change.
The only 3 people that have talked to me since the moratorium came out was about that. It wasn't about the 2 acre,
I would agree.
it was about, you mean to tell me you bunch of idiots are not gonna let people subdivide their property in this parish anymore?
Yeah, do not downplay that, because that's exactly what.
That's what it is.
It is.
It's what is being said, but they're not gonna allow them to cheaply divide their property.
No, they're not gonna, no, what
No,
this
you
says
just
is.
don't-
No, listen to that, he's right.
You're not gonna be allowed to grab a piece of dirt
That's right.
and run off through a piece of dirt and throw a subdivision in it for very minimal investment.
I agree with that. But
So-
so how do I do it? If this gets approved, 6 months from now, this is approved, and I've got 20 acres, that's 250 feet wide, so I could put 2 lots in the front of it, but I also wanna have 2 lots
You put a
behind it.
500-foot
You're gonna
paved
dedicate,
road in.
you're gonna dedicate a 60-foot wide right of way, and you're gonna put 2 12-foot lanes with adequate base. It's gonna be inspected by the
Okay, so
parish.
now they gotta go asphalt it, it's gotta.
You have to make a road that is acceptable for your police jury to accept, because they have to maintain it. When that developer walks away, they take a maintenance fine for 1 year, 18 months, and that's it, they
And
walk
it's no
away.
longer gravel roads allowed. Is that
Well,
what
it
it is?
depends on the days, what you do.
I don't know.
The parish doesn't want gravel roads. I mean, they're in.
But they don't want to have they this.
But it gets passed on to the person's buying the land, and she's expressed on that side of it, that, you know, you're gonna get to where maybe you can't afford it, so you gotta balance, a delicate balance here, but
What will
How to
eventually
choose.
happen, as much as we say, we do the 2 acres, what will eventually happen is the developers will come in and work on a density base, and they'll bring a density base to the police jury, and the police jury is gonna turn around and say, the developer's gonna come in here and say, hey, at the front of our subdivision, we're gonna turn around and do half or 1/4 acre lots in the front, whatever distance of our subdivision. In the back of our subdivision, we're gonna do 5 and 6 acre lots in the back of our subdivision. To get away from our 2 acre requirement, and nobody's gonna say no when it comes down to it. They're gonna let it pass as a variance, but they're gonna come in there and you're gonna have to give green space. Your difference is you're gonna come in here and have 40 or 50 acres sitting of green space that they can go hiking or they can do whatever with. That's how that works. That's how those density, we're setting a density requirement at the 2 acre point right there. but you're gonna have lower income stuff come and push that direction eventually. But what this is gonna stop is somebody coming in there and doing quarter acre lots, and only quarter acre lots on 10 acres, something like that.
Yeah, I'm
No,
allowed.
but I'm just saying, that's where this cost thing is, where the conversation is being had that we're pushing people out. We're not really gonna be pushing people out. It's just gonna have to take developments that are more qualified and quality developments.
The developer for, just going back to that simple subdivision, the 5 acre thing, the way we have it now, not what's in the draft, but instead of being able to put a gravel road in, they're gonna now have to have a public asphalted street through that for 4 lots.
You have to create the public frontage. The only way you can create the public frontage is a road that's accepted by the people that represent the public, and that's the elected. And they have standards as to what you're gonna build on, that's defined here, then defined.
And there's no interest from what we've heard, what Dexter and, Chris has been here saying a few meetings ago, that there is no interest by the police jury to accept gravel roads.
No, they're not gonna take it right like that now.
Look, they're gonna be hard pressed to take asphalt, but they're gonna have to take it. I mean, the rules are gonna come around, they have to take asphalt. They can't just not.
When they
So-
build it, when somebody, I don't care who develops it, if they build it to their standards, when they go to court, they gonna eat it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing with
Well,
If you build
That's
it
the
your
thing
thing, if
because
you build it to
setting
the
these
public
standards,
standards that we,
if we
that
set a
give
driving
common
standard, they'll
sense,
start taking out driving
I don't
roads.
care what they do,
And-
they can
and-
vote no in this room all they want, but when that black road gets in front of them,
as long as that's established at the preliminary plat phase, when it goes to approval.
yeah,
Question, how,
but they don't say it that
question
way.
the state, how are we gonna get away from a 2 acre minimum lot size to doing 4 acre?
They'll
lots?
ask for a variance. They'll ask for a
But
variance.
they're,
But it'll be average.
It'll be average.
They'll
where
average.
are we
out.
gonna get the variances at, though?
They'll present it to you.
They'll present it.
They'll have to,
They'll-
and what it's
they'll-
gonna come down to, Amy, is they got 50 acres. At 2 acres, that's 25 lots. If you gotta have 25 of your acres is gonna be green space to make them other 25 1 acre lots, that's how that works out. In other words, it balances out.
But we're,
The variance is in
but
there.
we're saying minimum lot size.
Yeah.
We're saying minimum lot size.
But they ask for a variance based on
The
the total,
density.
that's it, the total size of the property.
That's what I'm asking, where's his variance coming in?
They have to come in and formulate that variance.
You would have to vote on that.
Break
They would
down.
have
That's
to,
correct.
they would have to
If they
come
don't
to
get
you.
the variance and they won't.
And what you're gonna see is, and 50 is probably low, but you're gonna see somebody bringing a 200 acre subdivision and stuff to those, to
You know,
that
say we
extent.
wanna put in 1/2 acre lots, and we're only gonna develop quarter, the rest of it's gonna be green space, so it averages out to be 2 acre lots.
So you decide if you
Yeah.
want
That's
to
the
see
whole
that or
purpose
not.
of the 2 acre thing is about population.
Cause their value sits on the road frontage that they create. I mean, and that's, I mean, if they're gonna make a road to go to those back ones, if they can put 10 houses on that or 4 houses on it, they're making more money on 10, and if they set 25 acres in the back empty with a pond in the middle of it, and everybody has a contract to go fishing,
That's money that they spend.
Oh, and that's walking back.
well, I mean,
We require that, but you have to do that. You have to make it acceptable. You have to put a brick pad, minimum brick pad around and make it walk.
but the 2 acres throws it in Mark, and the 2 acres throws it in the parish's seat, instead of them making the decision. You know, lets the parish make the decision, not,
I would agree with that. And if that variance comes to you, you just need to hear it out, listen to it, and see how that works, and see if it makes sense to you. You're a voting body, you get to vote whether you recommend that for approval or not.
They just throw it in the thing, and
oh, absolutely,
so
fine.
I had to have a visual, but I know what you're
But
talking about.
what we do have is stuff, how big are the lots in the one that just went through, I'm not gonna name it, but the one that we just saw.
You had, they were all over 1 acre.
They're all in there.
I mean, if you had some under an acre, it was .93.
But
They were all over an acre. Most, I don't think I've seen any come through that were less than an acre.
So if,
preliminary for one on,
I'm wrong about that.
we had a preliminary on next to the one that was built out last year. That preliminary had some smaller ones, had some 3/4 on it,
Which one was that?
on 68.
Was that Feliciana? No.
No, that's
Grand.
Hidden Point,
Next to Hidden Point.
Grand Lake.
Grand Lake,
Oh.
Grand Lake.
that's a nice subdivision.
That preliminary had some smaller ones.
The ones along the railroad track. all the way in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We talked about the railroad track.
yeah. Have y'all been out there looked at it? They're really good.
I think that place turned out beautiful.
I'm telling you, so
I
that,
think that
that's,
Hidden Lake's a beautiful place.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm going. We're gonna really go keep our ambiance.
all right, so let me try to get back to this, but let me ask this question. We touched on it a second ago. It says, so now you got somebody with, if a guy's got 25 acres, he wants to put 5 lots on it. We're gonna say, well, it's not all on public, you don't have enough public frontage, you can't do it. He says, okay, well, where does your ordinance tell me what to go do? Where is that at? Like, y'all just said the ordinance.
You're just gonna say you have to create that public road frontage.
That's correct.
Well, I thought you said our ordinance is already covered, that's be a major subdivision, that would fall out of the simple subdivision because it doesn't have road frontage.
Right now,
And then
it's-
where would they go?
just like you say, you hear people say that they don't wanna take that away. It was a hard swallow to say that, you know, I'm gonna take that out, but we took that out. That was, where was it out there? It was subdivided. Section 2, exceptions. Partition of property among co-owners provided any private servitude attached to establish for the benefit of lots to
Which
be
page you on, excuse
partitioned.
me, if you don't mind?
Page 3 of 31.
Okay, thank you.
This is where it allows you to do exactly how it is now. Line 4, and it allows you
Right,
to,
that allowed it, but now,
so I scratched that out.
yeah, so
That's
now
tough
what do
one.
I do? If this gets approved, where does it tell me how to, in our current ordinances, how to go,
How to build a road.
how to build a
major
road and
development.
subdivide the land?
It will become a subdivision.
Right, where is that?
Section B, paragraph B and C.
B?
Section B, paragraph B and C. Section
Okay.
5, let me go find it.
Is this in the appendix or in the ordinance?
In the appendix.
In the appendix.
Strict construction. C, all streets shall consist of minimum thickness, page 8 of 31.
Okay, design standards.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
The design of a street inside of a public
I
road.
I read it, I already read it, you're right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That
Okay.
makes sense. So this is, if it doesn't have
Frontage,
frontage,
build a road.
That's
build a
correct.
design standards, and this is how you
Build
build
a
it.
road.
Good,
That makes
right,
sense. That makes sense.
And it's not as complicated as what it's getting into, because people can come in and build a 400-foot road and access a whole lot off of a 400 or 500-foot road. It doesn't, starts getting away from these roads that, we have one that's out in the Bluff Creek area that has probably 1,800-foot road that is grown over in grass right now. That is the base, you ride a pickup truck in the middle of the top, 2 cars can't pass. You know, it makes where it becomes healthy development to those islands, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can go all over different places and see where people took 4 acres, 5 acres, put a 150-foot cul-de-sac in. And,
Yeah,
they say that, but you can take 8 acres and put a 150-foot cul-de-sac in there and reach your back lots, you see what I'm saying?
Look, y'all saying they have an option makes me feel a whole lot better.
Okay.
I wasn't connecting those dots that,
See, with the private service,
just build
but we had.
build a public road.
1,800 feet.
a,
Remember that?
my thought was you can.
Greenbrier?
A Greenbrier that went all the way around that.
30-foot, a 30-foot thing, we had,
And
and
then
then 1,500
just have to
feet
build a
back
public
lot.
road.
And it wasn't
That
nothing.
makes sense.
So you did not understand that
I
at the
did.
beginning of this meeting?
I didn't.
Oh,
Now-
that makes me feel better. See,
Yeah.
that's why, okay.
Now I understand.
I assume that some of y'all may understand some of these things, but okay, yes. We are not taking that option away from the public. It's just gonna be more of an investment.
What it says, what this is saying is, so what I said earlier wasn't accurate. I said that no longer allows people to divide their property. It
And he
does.
said cheaply, and that was probably what I should
That's
have
what
said.
I'm saying.
Yes.
It's just cheap.
Because you can take,
But they won't then turn around and try to put that on.
Shitty road,
That's correct.
Right. Then won't try.
Yes.
Right.
It won't be put in our house.
Well, I mean, we have a ton of stuff that we put up here that took the first 300 or 400 foot and then left 100 foot right away to it, that they still may want to buy one day. You point blank could run to the back of that 400 foot with asphalt, put a cul-de-sac there, and then pie shape off 40 or 50 acres in the back, you know, and not, you don't have to put these extensive long roads in, they just have to be quality roads.
You want that for your,
Absolutely.
you want that for people 30
That
years
makes me
later.
feel a whole lot different about it.
You know,
The only thing I'm gonna
Makes me
say
feel
on that
a little-
cul-de-sac thing,
I said every time we talk about it, we get something like that.
I didn't have that clarification.
It's all right.
or that cul-de-sac, just the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
During the designs, when they talk about the circumference of the
I
cul-de-sac,
haven't seen much in
because when we had 2 or 3 of them we've done. Evans is one, they spun around that cul-de-sac, and that garbage truck, when that garbage truck moves, he pushes that asphalt, pushes it out.
Who went in Evans and poured concrete cul-de-sac in the last 10
Well,
years?
he sure he did.
They did that concrete cul-de-sac.
They did, because we
I saw it the other
we
day, I
did
mean,
that, and, Feliciana Crossing has one.
Yeah.
It's a big,
Down there.
fine concrete cul-de-sac.
Because when you, once you put a concrete cul-de-sac, the only thing wearing on that is that garbage truck's tires, and I don't care.
So,
I don't care.
okay, so tonight,
So let's figure out how to, let's figure out
let's
how to
figure out how to proceed.
close this down, maybe proceed, tell me, look, you cannot hurt my feelings, I don't take anything personal, so tell me what you wanna see, or tell me what's right, tell me what's wrong, tell me what you think, or sleep on it, call me.
I think
Email me.
I think we're pretty much there.
I do too,
Our-
and I think
I do
it's not
too.
an address.
Our objective
At some
tonight
point,
needs to
there's-
be to set a public hearing tonight. We need to set a public hearing a month away or wherever, okay? Well, it'll actually be, about 6 weeks away. But we set a public hearing, we need to make sure that for our public hearing, Mr. Oren, I don't wanna, I mean, I'm not wanting to task you with particularly more, but some simple bullet points that we can have to have a discussion. These are the items that are actually being changed. There may be verbiage change on other things, but these will be our items to change. JR, are we looking at putting the stuff from previous discussions into these ordinances now?
No, take what he has there,
Okay,
do that, and then just put the,
Few changes we talked about.
no, the changes we talked about, but what he's talking about is just a list of,
Bullet points.
well, no, major changes to the ordinance. In other words, gravel roads are gone. That's one of them.
I'll put that in a discussion.
In other words, that's one of those list of
I would
changes.
start with
there
this,
you go. Very simplistic.
I would start with this and simplify the heck out of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
like
my
one
concern,
line bullet points.
we didn't necessarily address the old business with the specific to the R1. I don't know
I think
if,
a lot of this is what we were talking about.
That's not even in that subdivision in there, Josh. It's
So-
in zoning.
it will be, we're gonna get to that point. I would like for that, it's gonna evolve to that point where it's gonna have to go into the ordinance like that.
It's gotta be the same thing that's written in the zoning ordinance of,
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's the thing.
So I feel like y'all are gonna need to present that together. I don't think that's gonna take any time to go put those things the same way in this article,
And that's what we're asking you to do,
and I'll do that.
okay? I mean, because we don't know, so we may be completely off base. You understand that
You're gonna have two things
we want,
that
we
you're
want
gonna present.
We want 2 acre lots, okay, just bringing up this one thing. We want 2 acre lots. It may take 10 places to put it in those ordinances to make it legal. I don't know the 10 places, you don't know the 10 places, none of us know the 10 places, he knows the 10
He's
places.
got, he understands.
And the same, that's right.
12103, is that in here?
It's just one.
Which one was that for?
It's an appendix. It's an appendix and it's in the ordinance, that's in the zoning.
I just wanna go in here and change those. on all
2
of them.
acres, yeah. Just
You
2
feel
acres.
better?
Josh, so just,
Yeah, I think it's still huge, it's still a huge
Big
change.
Well, that's a big change.
But it's gonna be.
I think so.
In the long run, it's gonna be what's best for the parish.
I don't disagree with that a bit. I don't disagree with it. That is a significant change.
And it helps keep our parents with this little
Yeah.
amount. bring in some,
I'm coming back with 2 documents.
it's gonna grow.
And it's the only,
Tell me,
it's this
one
long, you
volunteer
don't need
firefighter.
the rest of that,
You can't-
just change it, go
can't-
to water.
We don't have the infrastructure, you have the population density.
It's
You
just
know, a lot of
changing
people would force upon us if we didn't.
I agree with that, that's what I'm saying, so you're gonna have to do their, be able to use it to make their roads to get there, so you're gonna be utilized.
And there's a
Here,
curve.
spells it out. I don't have to read it, they'll read it twice.
Side note, you know, to do, and this goes back to the other, we're talking about for the stadium,
This
of,
is, minimum lot size, period.
of
Look at the
not
picture of this.
people.
No, I'm gonna make a copy of it, they give
Police
it.
officers,
I
fire,
got copies.
state, that's the discussion now, they're gonna take away their state funds,
State tax.
their state taxes.
Mr. Josh.
But they're not doing, it's not gonna help us, because they're not doing,
You can do volunteer damn time.
Well, then they can.
Oh, you want more
So
than
volunteer fire, shit, everybody, you'd have 2 million volunteer fire department.
If one of them, showed up every time, it's more we got.
You'd have everybody in it.
Or the process.
5 million people in this state, 7 million people in the state.
okay, let's get this finished up.
Alright, you asked that question that fall.
It does come out every 15 minutes.
So where,
With you, Randy.
We need to make a recommendation to open a public meeting.
yeah, can we
Have
have
to
that?
rezone.
January 28th.
I think you need
That's
to-
an apple.
Whatever you want.
No, I got it.
Rezone.
Send it to Sam to review.
Yes.
Yes.
Set a public meeting.
After he makes the changes and we look at the changes, it goes to Sam.
Yep.
Yes, I want y'all to understand, I'm giving y'all 2 things.
Yeah.
Are we on the same thing?
Yes,
And
sir.
the,
Okay, thank you.
Got it.
So when that comes back, y'all.
When do you think you would have that?
I'll have y'all.
What you have, that's what already.
So within this week, we should see that,
Yes.
okay?
I don't think that there is anything major in here that I need to put any kind of hours to, other than get in here and go dip into it, and I'd rather get it, dip into it, send it to you. Y'all process it, look at it, see what you think, and just don't hesitate to, if you don't understand it, I'd rather y'all understand it.
Let's
And call me, either go through Josh or call me, or get my number. I'll give you
send it to me or send it to JR, and we'll create an email chain and send it to JR. JR is better at email chains than I am. So, and we'll go out with it to us. Keep it in-house to us, and then at the same time, then we'll send it,
Then let's not drag our feet, do it, I mean.
and we'll send it to, Sam at the same time.
Yeah.
And let Sam look at it.
I got used to.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, we'll send it to
Yes.
Sam at the same time. Let's set a public
Let's
hearing
get it to
tonight.
that point.
Let's set a public hearing for the
68.
28th.
73rd.
All reviews of us and Sam.
military
That's January 28th.
Our reviews probably have to be done within the next
Weeks.
week. Yeah.
What I'm saying, we gotta get our reviews of it, we gotta get Sam reviews of it, and all.
Yeah.
Plenty of time before this public meeting.
Yes, we have, but we have
set a
6
pub,
weeks.
we set a public meeting,
We gotta be ready.
and we have to, Nikki didn't have to be ready to hand somebody something.
Right.
If they want.
And that's something that's gonna be those 2 documents that I held up, just for clarification's sake.
That's,
I would rather y'all tell me, you know, I mean, I got something, I understood some of the things that you didn't, so I mean,
Well-
we keep talking, we realize we don't understand, and I don't assume.
And I'm gonna tell you this, I'm against coming to a meeting and seeing a document for the first time.
Okay,
He sent me an email last night, but I hadn't had time to print it out.
I understand that.
Okay, so coming to a meeting and looking at the document, trying to figure out what everybody's talking about, I'm lost right now. Okay?
But then, call me, if you need, call me, go through Josh, if you wanna talk any of this stuff out tomorrow, and you weren't clear, I completely, I feel like I.
What I'm saying is if we get a document on January
No, sir.
27th,
No, sir, no.
then it ain't doing nobody.
If you do, it's gonna be a document that we've gone back and forth and we've vetted with Mr. Sam, because he's gonna be the ultimate,
like
Mr.
you just
DeQuilla will
said,
be the
we'll have
ultimate.
something in the week.
Yeah.
It'll go to us and to Sam by the end of the week. We need to have this discussion by this time next week. We need to pretty much know what we're at.
And when you look through it, mark your thing, and you get Andy's thoughts in there, you can pick up cell phone, call me, and I can go through the hard copy I have as is, and write down notes, and then we'll figure it.
Yeah, but Jay, that's the reason I mentioned a while ago, if we got a meeting on 28th.
No, I'm
We're
getting
gonna
back
set
to
a
you.
public, we're gonna set a public hearing
can come to you guys, I
It
mean,
doesn't get
it's,
public meeting.
Well, if we're gonna make a quorum, it has to be a public meeting. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But anybody can go individually or one or two and go sit.
or call me, it's easier instead of
Why
making.
would we have
You can't have.
four or less?
That's correct, that's right, so y'all can,
Can't do five.
correct.
We'll give you two separate, we'll all come, and we'll just give you two separate rounds.
That don't work. That's called a rolling four. That don't work. Rolling four.
We're gonna have to go to each room and call roll.
No, rolling four. Just like he picked up the phone, calling you, calling him, calling him. That don't work either.
Okay, we're ready.
Can't do
We're
it.
ready, Josh, we're ready.
Alright, so there's nothing, Mr. Ori's been tasked with what he's gonna do for us, so we don't need to vote on that. We need to vote on setting a public meeting.
Make a motion, we make a public meeting for January 28th to hear these ordinances and all, and bring them to the public, so we can make a deciding vote on that.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it.
I'm very clear.
But we need to get it done in the next week and a half before Christmas.
I'm not trying to bring this up.
And understand, the reason they weren't, I will defend them a little bit, the reason they weren't is because they have to pay.
Yes, it would.
So this would have been done, this would have been done 3 months ago.
And we've got to push Sam
Wait to get the
too.
speech set up.
Oh, I gotta finish
Approve the
speaking.
meeting dates.
Last thing on that, you may wanna do a word search for essential.
You saw some?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
In
just
the-
clear it
in the
out.
family
Don't worry, I'll take that out.
We don't wanna have any other modifications
That's
after
true.
it comes up.
That's confusing.
No. Thank you for that.
All right, we made it to our old business, that brings us to number 7, our new business. We have none.
Yeah.
Brings us to no maps, for A and B, brings us to C, approve the 2025 meeting dates.
I move that we approve the 2025 meeting dates as listed and handed to us tonight.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Police tree representatives, do y'all have anything y'all like to speak on tonight?
Oh. Make sure everyone has done their ethics of the
You
year.
email it to us.
The link?
Yes.
Sure. I think I was supposed to do that.
And then we're gonna have,
I can do
the
it.
next meeting, I think you're gonna have the calendar ready.
Mine, I had to take one of
The,
the
meeting dates. Did you
Yes,
get
mine,
mine?
yes.
We just need that,
I'm sorry.
That's it.
Okay.
Hey, Nick, do they have to email completed ethics, or do you get that from ethics? Where did it, when they complete the
I
ethics?
think y'all.
It's a certificate, and it's
I
printout
just
forms.
put it in a folder. Put it in,
Yeah, come send that to us.
And that's
Yeah, I
the
sent it.
24th.
Please email them, please. All right.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So I will talk to, Yamisha for Monday. For
Oh,
Monday.
to,
No, you can just put them on your calendar.
Oh,
Sure don't. And set your deadline dates. You don't have anything to do with
legal
it.
advisor, nobody's here. Public comment. Anderson, would you like to speak? No public comment, or a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Speaking, guys.
Yeah, I feel great about the direction. Now I'm excited to get just say these couple
Plus,
of
you
things.
get paid.
That's all it is.
If you don't show, we know why you didn't come back.
Yeah, if you're not here next month.
My company pays me regardless, I'm very.
That's right.
fortunate.
That's terrible. You'll be able to get
There was a lot of confusion on my part, I'll tell all of you.
No notice.
Right, but that wasn't.
I'm gone.
That wasn't discussed when I had all of my.
Do you need my button for nothing?
No, I understand. I really actually go and I kind of know how it was, and, I understand. And it is,